Mr. Potter's Zoo Book. Jim the Duck-Billed Platypus by Terry Ward. It was a beautiful sunny morning and Mr. Potter had just put the kettle on for his cup of tea to go with his breakfast. He sat down in his chair and wondered whether he should have boiled eggs or fried eggs. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Not a very loud knock, but nevertheless a knock. "Hey, I wonder who that could be," he said to himself. The knock came again. "It can't be postman, he's already delivered." The knock came again, but louder. "And it can't be Mr. Halibut with the fish, it's too early," continued Mr. Potter. By now, whoever it was outside was getting rather impatient. "Knock, knock, 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 knock!" "Silly me," said Mr. Potter. "I better open the door to see who it is out there before they get so tired of waiting and knocking that they'd just give up and go away." Mr. Potter got up and went over to the front door, still talking away to himself. He opened the door, and standing outside with his hands on his hips and an angry look on his face was Peter the Penguin. "Hello, Peter," said Mr. Potter. "Lovely morning, isn't it?" "Don't you lovely morning me!" said Peter in a very grumpy voice. "What's wrong with you today?" asked Mr. Potter. Peter the Penguin wasn't the happiest of animals, at the best of times, and today something had happened that had really upset him. "There's a strange-looking character outside the zoo's main gate," said Peter. "He woke me up with his confounded banging this morning." "Who is he?" asked Mr. Potter, trying to keep a straight face. "I don't know," said Peter. "He's got some strange name and he says he's from Australia and he's a flat-billed ducky-puss or a puss-billed flatty duck." "You mean a duck-billed platypus?" said Mr. Potter. "Probably," said Peter. "Anyway, whatever he's called, he's waiting for you down at main gate. Hey, by gum." "Right," said Mr. Potter. "Let's go and greet him." And he grabbed his coat and hurried down to the main gate. There, just outside the gate, sitting on an old suitcase, was a very suntanned duck-billed platypus. Mr. Potter opened the gate. "Sorry, but the gate was shut," said Mr. Potter. "But I have to stop all people coming in." "That's all right, Blue," said the platypus, picking up his suitcase and walking in. He shook Mr. Potter by the hand. "My name's Jim," he said. Mr. Potter smiled. "Nice to meet you. My name's Mr. Potter. Come on up to house, you look tired." "That's very kind of you, sport. I'm fair bushed," said Jim. Mr. Potter smiled again, and the two of them walked up to the path to Mr. Potter's cottage. Jim and Mr. Potter spent all day and half the evening talking about Jim's life. Mr. Potter took out a map of the world and asked Jim to show him where he came from. Jim pointed to Australia. "We better wind and tunnel from the riverbank and leaven them," said Jim. "We only go in the river for about 2 hours a day to get food from the bottom using our funny bills." "Hey, it's getting late," replied Mr. Potter. "It's time for bed, I think. If you'd like to sleep in the spare bedroom for tonight tomorrow, I'll find you somewhere better to stay in zoo." "Okay, sport, sounds just swell," said Jim in his broad Australian accent. He picked up his suitcase and went up to bed, leaving Mr. Potter to lock up. Mr. Potter was just about to lock the front door when suddenly there was a knock. Not a large knock, but nevertheless a knock. Mr. Potter opened the door, and standing on the doorstep in his pyjamas was Peter the Penguin. "He's staying then, is he?" said Peter. "Who?" asked Mr. Potter. "That duck-puss Platypus," said Peter. "Yes, he is," replied Mr. Potter with a grin. Peter Penguin turned round and marched off, and moaning, still talking to himself. "Hey, another mouth to feed, as if there's not enough already. All he does is give himself work to do. Hey, by the heck." Mr. Potter chuckled to himself. "Good night," he called to Peter, and locked up for the night.